So now we're in India where people are beginning
thriving mode now.
We're beginning to thrive. We're just kind of going up right now. But also as a nation, we are following the Westerners because of the social media, because of the exposure through social media
internet,
and the network and the internet of things. We've got exposure, but we're still following the Westerners. And that's where I would desire it to stop. Because we are so rich culturally, we are far more enhanced culturally, that we don't understand the beauty and the magic we possess in our own land, in our own cultures. There's so many wonderful things that the West are repurposing and calling it theirs.
Absolutely.
Curcumin.
Absolutely.
Curcumin is turmeric.
Yeah.
We've been using it for all of our lives. I'm 38, 39 years old. I've had turmeric every day of my life. And then suddenly a nutritionist tells me, you have to have curcumin. It's very good for inflammation. What is curcumin, bro? Curcumin, oh, sorry, it's turmeric. I'm having turmeric every day, man. What do you mean?
Yeah.
So then the extract of something within turmeric.
Even for that matter, the concept of biohacking, what we are now is becoming very popular.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's good to use that word or that phrase, but the same way most of the concepts have come from the East.
The concepts are predominantly from the East.
Yeah.
Like one has to understand, like even say the West that we perceive of. What is the West for us Indians? For us, it's first America and then the UK, right?
Yeah.
But look at the land of America, right? What was the land of America 300 years ago? What is the land of America today? With all due respect, right? It is a land of the Indians who lived there, right? There was a very clear culture that was there, which was lost after it was invaded and all of that happened, right? Over 300, 400 years ago. That culture is lost completely. Now you find a lot of that culture more in the South American countries. So if you go to the South American countries, there's so many plant medicines available there that work for that part of the world. We live in this part of the world, and in this part of the world, there's so many things that work here. Like my desire, like I said to you in our first meeting, my desire would be for the Indian government to actually mainstream Ayurveda, to do research, to do proper R&D, publish papers, publish journals, and actually like portray Indian medicine as a torchbearer for good health.
Yeah.
Because it's all there. We all have it. Whether you go to a Kashayams down south, you go to a plant medicines and, you go to Shilajit up
even
north.
the Basma,
everything.
Ayurvedic, all the stuff. Yeah.
There's so much in Indian medicine. And I love that about the Chinese. They formalized Chinese medicine.
CTM, Chinese traditional medicine. Yeah, absolutely.
They formalized it. I desire for Indian medicine to be formalized in that sense. Because we have so much magic here in our country, which is untapped.
Yeah, absolutely. Robin, going back to that period you went through, and how did you really come out of this? Because that may be something people would be very keen on. Many people I know, especially at this point of time, you made a very, very valid point. Not many people really think that line, because we have been in a survival mode, and right now maybe we are in a sustenance mode and we are getting ready for a thriving mode.
Correct.
And many people are not able to accommodate or adjust with this change. That is also creating stress, and also people, there are so many issues. Like there are people who are successful in life. I've come across many people like this, or I'm coming across many of them, especially entrepreneurs who are successful in life. They go through the process of imposter syndrome, where they start thinking that, I'm not good enough. I'm not wise enough. Or am I a fraud? That's the kind of an imposter syndrome people go through. And they start stopping activities in their business. They think that, the time is over. So that it's mainly because they are not able to cope up with the kind of shift which is going on. Now, when so many people are actually having this kind of challenge when it comes to mental health related things, I'm sure that, people like you who have really gone through it, you have a great role to play. That's why I asked you a question that, what steps you took? How did you drive yourself out of this?
Oh, it was a long journey, but very recently I put out a little podcast of mine on a little video of mine on my YouTube channel about what I did to overcome clinical depression. And as a I wouldn't call it a 10-step process. I just put down the steps and happened to be 10 steps.
Oh, great. I'll put that link in this. So that people can go through.
Yeah, people can have a look at that. But for me, I followed a method where my first step was acceptance, acknowledgement that there is something wrong. I think at the very base of it, when you can acknowledge, and a lot of people live in denial.
Yeah. Many of them.
Very unaware as well.
Yeah.
If we can be aware of just ourselves and how we feel and how we would like to ideally feel on a day-to-day basis, then if there's something wrong, then it's a measure to go by. A lot of things in our lives, because of the pace of the world we live in today, the self-awareness dissipates and disappears after a point in time. So to have standards by which you live your life is critical. So for me, one of the first steps I did to overcome clinical depression is to acknowledge that there is a problem. I'm not okay. I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling okay.
Okay.
When I did that and I acknowledged to myself, one is I stopped living in denial that there wasn't anything wrong. I stopped trying to escape it. I just sat with it. I may not have done anything with the information, but I sat on the information that, okay, I'm not okay. And then when I stayed with it for some time, I got to a place where I started thinking, now what? Okay, I'm not okay. Now what? Do I want to feel better? Yeah, I want to feel better. Okay, what can I do to feel better? I can talk about this to someone. Okay, who can I talk to about this? I don't know if I feel comfortable enough to speak to my family. Maybe I can speak to a friend and just tell them that I'm feeling like this. And then, okay, who amongst my friends? Who do I feel will listen to me? So, okay, there's this friend I can speak to. I'll speak to her. So then I spoke to my friend. I expressed to her that this is exactly how I feel. And that friend for me happened to be my wife today. Oh. So this is 12 years ago, 2012, in the second week of Jan. I showed you that photograph of how I looked at that point in time. That was at that point, just after that point. Yeah. So I said, I'm just in this place where I just hate where I am in my life. I hate who I've become in my life. I went a whole year, Sajeev, where I didn't look at myself in the mirror. So 2011 to 2012, I became so ashamed of who I became as a human being. I didn't look at myself in the mirror for a whole year because I just detested the person I had become. I didn't even know who I was, but who I became, I became so ashamed of who I'd become. Because I'd become a person, and I was never that kind of a person. I became a person who started seeing my progress in the failures of my teammates. And that was very hard for me to digest as a person. It made it very hard for me to look in the mirror and even have a semblance of respect for myself. Forget respect, even acknowledgement or acceptance of who I was as a person. I would go into the bathroom and not look in the mirror. I'd look down, just very consciously, like I had a mirror on my walk-in wardrobe, but not look in it, keep it open all times, or put a blanket over it, and just became so ashamed of myself. And I reached to a point where I reached a place where two options I had. I told Sheets this when you were friends that I have two options. One is I move to another part of the world and hit restart on my life because I have the money. At that point, I was the second highest earning IPL player. And I want to give up cricket, but I want to go to some other part of the world and restart life and just start again and then work from zero. I wasn't at zero. I probably was at minus 20, but I want to start again. Or the second option is to commit suicide. And this is a point where I almost attempted it a couple of times, and I heard a voice telling me not yet. And that got me curious as to why didn't the voice tell me stop? Why didn't the voice tell me don't do it? The voice told me not yet. So it felt like not yet sounds like why not yet? And then that got me thinking, and that thinking got me to acknowledging, okay, I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the lack of self-awareness was incredible and intense. Life was happening to me. I wasn't make life happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, she kind of asked the right questions to me. And helped me figure out a few aspects of my life. And I think one of the best questions she's ever asked me is, do you love the game of cricket? I said, yeah, I adore it. I love it. But I just hate who I've become within the game of cricket even. So she's like, why do you want to give up the game? I like, because of who I've become in the game. I hate who I've become. I see my success or my progress in the failures of my teammates. That's not who I am. So she was like, okay, fair enough. And then so the next question she asked me was, can you do me a favor? I said, yeah. I'm like, what? She's like, can you, just for me, as your best friend, can you play the game? Not because you want to win a tournament or not because you
Would outperform
your teammates or make a comeback into the Indian team. Can you play the game simply because you love it? So I'm like, oh, what do you mean? And then we spoke about it and she explained what she meant by love. As in, she said, can you play it just because it's fun for you to play? As you go out there, how you go and play tennis, like gully cricket with your friends? Can you just go and play it like that, just for fun? So I said, yeah. She said, can you do it for 6 months for me, just till the end of this IPL, 2012? And I was like, I don't want to do it because I don't know if I can do it. She's like, just for me, just try it. 6 months. After that, you want to quit the game, you quit it, she said. I said, okay. And she said, you'll also earn some more money. So if you decide to leave, then you have some more money to leave. So I said, yeah, fair, good point.
That's a good idea.
So I was like, okay, I'll play it. So she convinced me to play the game. She's like, if there's one thing you could change about yourself, what could you change? So I said, have you, look at me, man. I was 25 years old, Mr. Sajeev. I looked like I was 40.
I know, I've seen that pic. Yeah.
I actually got my body age test done. And then, so and she was also playing competitive tennis at the point in time. Sorry, I digress from the story. So she was playing competitive tennis at the point in time and she had a nutritionist. So she's like, okay, we'll change the way you look then. I'll put you onto my nutritionist. And she put me onto her nutritionist.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And so I went to a nutritionist and I started working with him. The next day, went to him. She got an appointment. I went to him, took a blood test, a comprehensive blood test done. Figured out where my deficiencies are, how far I am from status quo where I need to be, and then how much weight I need to lose. What is my body age? Not my
biological age.
What's my biological age of my body?
Yeah.
And then at 25, my biological age was 49.
My God.
And then I had to work my way back.
Yeah.
And then I worked with this nutritionist, who was also a good friend. And we worked together for a few years.
But the 6 months you just played for the
fun of it.
Fun of play.
And just by doing that, I worked with him. I slowly started losing weight. And I decided, okay, very consciously played cricket just to have fun. And the next tournament was in the middle of February. So I played the tournament in the middle of February. In that tournament, it's called the Vijay Hazare. I played the Vijay Hazare. I scored 200s and 350s in that five league matches. And then we qualified to the knockouts and we lost the knockouts. I slowly discovered my passion for the game again, just by playing for fun. And that's one thing to this day, Mr. Sajeev, I have not stopped. I play cricket for fun. Even if I'm competing, I play cricket for fun. When I'm on the field, I'm playing cricket for fun.
You just want to enjoy it.
I want to enjoy it. I become a child again. I'm having fun with the game. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I go out there and express myself. I'm not worried about. I want to win. The intention to win is there.
Yeah.
And but I'm like, I know I'm going to win also. I leave the how to God. That's how I operate. How is God's job?
Correct.
My job is to go out there and play to win.
Yeah.
Win will happen. Sometimes you'll lose. I'll be okay, if I've lost, I'll be okay, what can I learn from the loss? But the minute I operate from there and I started operating from that place. I rediscovered my passion for the game. And I'm like, okay, now I rediscovered my passion to play for India again. And I want to play for India again. From that point, I've at least made 4 or 5 comebacks into the Indian team.
After 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Between 12 and 15, which is the last time I made a comeback, I think made 4 or 5 comebacks. And all comebacks for me were short-lived because in hindsight, the goal was the comeback, which shouldn't have been the case for me. The goal should have been way beyond the comeback. The comeback should have been a milestone. One of my biggest learnings along the way was that the goals that we set for ourselves in the long run are often too small. And we aim a little lower than what we are actually capable of.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
And not just in, say, and I think that's when the imposter syndrome tends to set in.
Absolutely.
Because we aim too low and we get there, and then we get satisfied, and then we fall, and we're like, oh God, I have to go back there again.
Exactly. I have seen this, that when you are actually setting the goals, I've always seen that more than setting the goal has to be set. There's no doubt about it. But what has to drive you is the desired outcome.
Yeah.
So most of the time we actually lose our focus on the desired outcome and we get stuck with the goal.
No, sometimes the desired outcome itself becomes the goal. People are not willing to see beyond the desired outcome, which is what I specialize in today. When I talk about peak performance mentorship, it is about educating people and showing them their true potential. And their true potential is way beyond what they perceive for themselves, because within the competitions that we exist in today in the world, we don't see our truest potential. We are infinite.
Yeah.
Our potential is infinite. We can dictate how far we want to go.
Correct.
And say, it might seem like absolute nonsense today, but in a year's time, that becomes your reality almost.
Yeah.
In 2 years' time, you've achieved that reality, and then you're sitting back and you're thinking, okay, now what? But imagine you begin from a place where you dream of a goal that seems like a dream to you. It's like, hey, this is not reality. This is dreamland.
Yeah.
But give it time. That dreamland suddenly seems reality in 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, think about, say, our Indian mentality, because we operated out of that survival mentality that we spoke about earlier today. All of us Indians think about, when we get money, what's the first thing we do? Buy a house.
Buy a house, yeah.
Okay? We put all of our life savings into a house. But today, in today's world, if you think about it, it is so counterintuitive. Okay, we leave the counterintuitive part aside right now. We'll focus on buying a house. Okay? We think about buying a house. Now, when we think of buying a house, we'll be like, okay, we're earning 100 rupees today. We are thinking of buying a house that costs 80 rupees today. Okay? People don't consider into that investment of a home. They don't consider inflation. They don't consider interest rates. And they don't consider their own earning potential after 5 years. They're buying a house based on their budget today.
Yeah.
They're not buying a house based on their budget 10 years down the line.
Correct.
Because everyone who's buying a house is taking a loan.
Yeah.
But they are not thinking, what is my earning potential 10 years from now? They are not calculating their earning potential 10 years from now. Even if they're going to buy a house, they're not calculating, okay, I'm taking a 30-year loan. In 30 years, what will be my earning potential? But I'm taking a 30-year loan, but I know in 15 years, I want to close this loan. I have a strategy for that. Now, what is my earning potential in 15 years? Can I make that 15 years, 10 years? So if my earning potential is this much in 15 years, should I be aiming at this house right now? Or should I be aiming at this plus 10 or this plus 15 or this plus 20 right now?
It's a very good strategy.
We always undershoot.
Yeah.
Even in what we desire to do, such as buying a home, we undershoot. And then we overextend after 10 years when we've already put ourselves behind the 8 ball.
Correct.
And then we overextend again. We take another loan.
I can seriously see this as one of the major reasons for this imposter syndrome.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people need to be shaken and shown reality to them. So a lot of friends today, when they say, okay, I think of buying a home, or we think of making this investment, I will like, think of this investment, include inflation into your calculations, include your earning potential into this calculation. Don't just, you're investing in a house, or you're investing in a house that you want to flip even. Don't aim too low. You're investing in a house that you want to live in with your family. Don't aim too low, because 3 years from now, if you just take 7% inflation. People say 4% and all. Reality is about 7-8%.
Yeah.
8% inflation every year. That means the value of your money is dropping by 8% every year. So 100 rupees or 100 dirhams or $100 is 92 dirhams next year.
Absolutely. After 1 year, yeah.
So where do you invest in where you maintain or increase the value of your money and you get your money to work for you, and invest in instruments that also keep it as such. These are not included in your financial decisions today.
Yeah.
And it's nuts for me how today, with the exposure we have today, why people aren't thinking and doing these things. And for me, the why is they aim too low.
They're not really exploring their potential.
They're not
even
understanding their potential. And they're not willing to upskill themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, this conversation goes so many other different directions.
No, but I think you learned that the hard way from your own life.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some of the best teachers in the world are the ones who've failed a lot.
Absolutely.
And had
No doubt
a
about
certain amount of success.
Yeah.
And then they were able to study the reasons for failure, the reasons for success, and they're able to find a balance. And for me, this industry that I'm in right now,
Yeah.
The life coaching industry, the peak performance, the mentorship industry, or the helping industry, that industry, you have to be a giver.
No other way. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Totally.
If you are not a giver, you can't exist in this industry.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong job for the wrong reasons then.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that.
Then it's like you're living, for example, it's like a child becoming a cricketer because his father wanted to become a cricketer, but because of the time and the age he lived in, he couldn't become a cricketer. So he is making his son a cricketer, so that he can live his dreams through his son. Completely unfair. And there's so many parents who do that, which is just absolute nonsense. But the same thing you'd be doing with yourself if you're in my industry and you're doing it because you want to earn money. Yes, you want to earn money, but do you want to earn money by giving to people? Great. You want to serve your family by serving other people? That's the right reasons to do the job.
Way to do it. Yeah.
But if you're doing this, for me, I've met a lot of coaches, a lot of mentors, a lot of mindset coaches who finish work and they'll be like, oh God, this is tiring.
Oh, okay. That means they're taking it as a job.
Yeah, it is a job. I finish sessions and I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I've helped this client.
How can I contribute more?
Yeah. I've helped this client figure out solutions for their job.
Exactly.
I see, I sit with clients where today I can see weight lifting off their shoulders while we're discussing, and I'm asking questions and they're answering and they're receiving the answers through the questions, the answers that they're responding to me. And they're like, wow, I didn't know this about myself. I'm like, oh yeah, how did I not see this? And they're empowering themselves through the questions that have been asked.
Absolutely.
And there is no more joy than that.
I think you must be a master in asking questions.
I'm getting that. I don't think there's a master of anything in the world. I think we're all learning.
Because if true transformations happen in other people's life only when you can change the way they think.
Yeah.
And the only one way you can make a person change the way he thinks is by asking the right kind of questions.
Yes, and I think more often than not, at least in my experience so far, I'm still very young in this business, or in this industry. But I think when you shift people from being a victim and teach them to take their power back that they have given away to different people or different entities, and you empower them, your job's pretty much done. You're serving people in the right direction.
Yeah. And one more thing, which last time also when we met, it was very interesting to discuss. That is the mental health. When we talk about the mental health, always most of the people think that mental issues or mental challenges are connected to only mind.
No.
But I have seen your transformation life has got a direct correlation with physiology also.
Oh, of course. I think mental health is all about physiology.
All about physiology.
100%.
So, Robin, as you know, you have gone through these ups and downs in terms of mental health. And I have come across many people whenever they think about or whenever they come across the issues connected to mental health, they always try to solve it at the mind level.
Yeah.
They think that's all to do with the mind or the maybe psychiatry and all those kinds of stuff. But in my experience, I have seen that, it's not at all disconnected. your body and mind works in tandem. So you're going through this entire process, and you're going through transformation on your physiology and also in your psychology. So how do you connect both this thing?
I would say not just body and mind. I would include a third entity. It's body, mind, and spirit. And I think it's the entire physiology plays a big part. And when we say body, people often think, or the narrative that's been set is that one has to go to the gym.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
That's not necessarily
That's
true.
not necessary.
That is, yes, one piece of the puzzle, but
Correct.
that's not the whole puzzle.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things which I love about, what you're doing right now with biohacking, I think education needs to be given about supplementation. What is supplementation? Supplementation is something that you add to your nutrition that it already exists.
Absolutely. Not substitution.
It's not a substitution to your nutrition. It's an addition. It's a supplement. You add it to your nutrition.
Correct.
That needs to be educated to the masses. It needs that light needs to be shown there that this is what supplementation is. Supplementation is not medicine. It's not nutrition.
Yeah.
It is vitamins and minerals that your body needs for it to function on an optimum level.
That's right.
Which keeps both your body in good health and your mind in good health. Because we were talking the other day, where is serotonin produced? Serotonin is actually produced in the gut. It's not produced in the brain.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a biochemical that the brain uses.
Yeah.
That you're talking about the synapses between the neurons.
Yeah.
That helps us experience dopamine.
That's
Now that synapses that helps that synapses to happen for that chemical that sits between the neurons.
That's the time you experience that.
That's when you experience it. So if that is not there, and that needs to be produced in the gut. So what does that mean? Your gut health needs to be optimum.
Correct.
You need to look after your gut health. What are the foods that help with gut health? People don't understand that things as simple as an achar
Correct.
could be included
Absolutely.
into our
The pickles,
diet
Yeah.
to everyday meals
Yeah.
that aids to our mental health.
Curd.
Curd.
Fermented food,
Yeah,
like in
fermented
South
food.
India, we have idli,
fermented
dosha.
food.
Yeah.
We were speaking about that. You were speaking
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So the importance of nutrition and supplementation that adds to your existing nutrition, that includes the piece of the puzzle that is your physical training. And your physical training could be a walk, could be playing a game, could be going to the gym. Some form of physical training
Yeah.
helps.
Basically, movement.
Movement, in a sense, movement.
Yeah.
So if you can add these aspects into your life and operate from a place and knowing what each thing is. Now a vitamin D3 supplement. That supplement is an essential for the body.
Yeah.
Which is a precursor to any mental health related issue. Now that substitute. Now how are you going to get that? You either need early morning sun. And in today's world and the lifestyles we have, how many people and how often do they get early morning sun?
Yeah.
For 45 minutes an hour. You might get it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but for 45 minutes an hour, how often do you
Not
get
possible.
it? Not possible. I can assure you 80%, I can tell you 80% of the population around the world probably are deficient of vitamin D. If you take just our people from our culture, from our diaspora, 80-90% are definitely down on vitamin D.
Yeah. In this region, especially in the Middle East,
Yeah.
UAE,
100%.
majority of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just a simple thing of supplementing vitamin D can be such a huge aid to you keeping mental health related issues at bay.
Yeah.
And people don't understand it. Supplementing of other vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D,
Magnesium.
magnesium, calcium, zinc, like just these minerals and vitamins. Like for men, the importance of zinc, the importance of potassium. Like today, people have low sperm count because of the lifestyle. Men, I'm talking about men who have low sperm count. And when they do want to have a family, they find out that, oh my God, I may have to opt for IVF. I may have to opt for this. Like if you can just be disciplined with supplementation of minerals.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree.
For a year and a half.
For the last 2 decades, I have been on it.
Yeah. See,
That's
ever since I discovered the magic of supplementation through my nutritionist, I've stayed on supplementation. It's been tiring. Sometimes I was like, Man, to calculate these supplements are tiring.
Yeah.
But today I'm like, okay, listen, I have to do this.
The only thing is that it need to be personalized. You
Yeah.
cannot just go in and just buy all the kind of stuff.
So for that, again, the education for it, get a blood test done biannually, once every 6 months.
Correct.
You want to stay healthy? Just get a blood test done every 6 months.
Know yourself.
Know yourself. Know your blood work. Know yourself, your blood work. Know your body as really well. Like, what does your blood work say? Get a comprehensive blood work done. Liver function test, kidney test, your cholesterol tests, your whole blood profile, your vitamins. You spend it's the greatest investment you can make.
Absolutely. I think the way the world has improved, or rather the way science and technology is helping healthcare industry, I think right now lifestyle disease is only a choice. If you want, you can actually make a decision whether you want it or not.
You can. Yeah.
Because you can measure everything. The blood markers, you can have the smart ring to measure your whoop. You have so many quantifiable measures are there.
Yeah.
But I think you said it right. People are not educated about it. They need to, because we think about health only when we are unhealthy. That's the most unfortunate part.
And that's why I get the blood test done every 6 months.
Yeah.
You'll actually know if you're actually healthy or not. If you can actually serve your family or not. Now, how long can you serve your family? If you continue living the way you're living right now, if you have bad cholesterol, if your LDLs and your HDL, if your LDL numbers are really bad, you will know what risk you are at for a heart attack.
Exactly.
Or a stroke for that matter, right? Get a blood test done. Make it like a biannual thing, a standard in your life, and then you'll know.
Yeah, even we have seen the same kind of advantages people are deriving from genetic testing, to understand about the possible risk. And
Absolutely.
Mitigating.
We were talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something we've done as a family. As a family, we embrace technology like no other, and we've used every tech that's available for us. So I've used the blood sugar, blood glucose level
continuous glucose monitors.
Yeah, so I've used that to figure out what foods spike my blood sugars, what foods don't, and then use that for a period of time. I'm like, okay, now I know that this spikes, this doesn't spike. So the ones that spikes, I know how much I measure, how much I have it. If it's something I do enjoy, I don't stop myself from it. But okay, I'll have this once in a while. I'll have this. I love a Snickers ice cream, but it spikes my blood sugars to a certain level. So I'll have a Snickers ice cream once every couple of weeks, or once a week I'll have it. And I'll be like, okay, I'm fine otherwise. I'm not really
At least you are conscious about what you're eating.
I know. I have information.
That's the most important.
If you have information and you don't act on it, you're a hypocrite. And nobody likes to be a hypocrite.
Absolutely.
Nobody likes to be a hypocrite. Say, for example, another thing that we did is we brain mapped ourselves as a family. So our daughter wasn't born then, but our son was about 2.5 years old. And the fingerprints. So you did the brain mapping through fingerprints.
Yeah.
There was a technology. This was possible in India. This company called My DNA, and then we were led to them, and then we got it done, and then we saw. So it's basically done on a research that spans over 50 years. So they say that the brain forms and the fingerprints on your fingers form when your brain is semi-formed. So the brain fuses, I think, post the age of 18. But till the age of 18, you have a general structure of your brain that there's a pathway that's there between the left and the right brain that doesn't fuse completely till the age of 18 or 20 or something like that. That's why kids have a very vivid imagination, because till that fusing happens, the imagination, so they call it the
right brain, left brain hemispheres.
Yeah, between the hemispheres, that pathway keeps the imagination very vivid and very alive.
Yeah.
So that's when
it's called the corpus callosum.
Correct. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's called. I was missing that name.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's get this done. So fingerprinting, and then we got it done with our son Nolan, and we understood him from
so much in depth.
Yeah, so much more in depth. We understood what kind of a person he is based on his fingerprints and based on the research over the last 50 years. Each fingerprint has a certain type of personality, and we understood his personality, and we started dealing with him based on his personality. And you won't believe, Mr. Sajeev, his response to us based on how we would interact with him based on his nature just changed in the way we parent our child today.
Look at that. Yeah.
It was incredible how he was more kinesthetic. And so he's someone who absorbs more. So they told us, if he's doing any writing work, any creative work, play music in the background,
Okay.
the creativity and his absorption of what he's doing will increase.
Because his auditory senses are must be
So it's
strong.
more audio visual as a person. There's some kids who are audio only, there's some kids who are visual only, and then there's some kids who are audio visual. There are some kids who are kinesthetic, some people who are non-kinesthetic, some people.
Some are visual, some are auditory. Yeah.
So he is kinesthetic but audio visual as well.
Okay.
So we saw that he absorbs the most, even when he's studying, if you have something playing on the background, some form of music playing on the background. He does his math better. And how do we interact with him when he's upset? So there's a certain way he responds. What does he respond to? So he's based on his fingerprints, if you approach him being upset with you being upset, that's it. It will not be a productive conversation.
It's very interesting because with this technologies coming in place, I think we are getting a total operating manual for human being. That's why I always tell people that you've got an operating manual for your laptop, you've got an operating manual for your refrigerator, but you don't have an operating manual for yourself. You don't know how to operate yourself.
Beautiful. Like for me today, say you get a genetic test done, right? You understand you understand your own DNA. That means you know yourself from the inside.
And kind of possible probable diseases you can have, how to prevent it.
Yeah.
So much.
And people don't utilize it because it costs money. I'm like, it's the greatest
That's a one-time investment
you can make in your life, in yourself.
Absolutely. I think there has been no better time than this to exercise all the kind of powers what you're talking about, like the kind of infinite potential, to unleash that infinite potential using science and technology, especially the AI tools, the IoTs and all those kinds of things. I think what you are going to contribute to the society at this point of time as a shift you have taken into this human transformation space is totally appreciated. And also we all want you to really contribute in a big way to the world, and you can actually help millions of people to really unleash their true potential. So I really thank you. I would have we would have kept on talking about this. So, but I'm sure that we'll catch up for another one more round of discussion. And so thank you so much, Robin, for being with us in this podcast. And I'm sure that the entire audience, entire people who are watching this must have been one of the breakthrough moments in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.